Hello everyone. We're here this evening in what was the soft fruit production garden. It's now looking a little bit decimated because I've been working here for a week. Well, almost a week. Be a week tomorrow when I started this project. The project is to create a bee and butterfly garden, specifically for the bees and the butterflies. And what that has entailed is me clearing some of these horizontal beds where I've got bindweed and mint. Yeah, I know, I shouldn't have done it, shouldn't have put the mint in. Oh, I am a silly girl, aren't I, Jack? Yeah, anyway. So, I'm moving all the black currants and planting those in other places. So I've managed to clear quite a few of them. I have to cut them back quite hard first before I move them. That makes them easier to move. I may not get many black currants next year, but they'll be stronger the year after for that. And so the new garden is going to run all the length of the tunnel, over across here, past where Jack is there, down to that orange Montbretia near the arch, up this way, up to this willow arch, and along here. Now, this was another very wet bed, and it got quite infested, as you can see, with lots of weeds that like the wet. So I'm going to be planting just heaps and heaps of crocosmia into that bed. So it'll be like one big long bank of crocosmia. Crocosmia is much loved by the bees. It's a wonderful flower because it really multiplies very fast, and it dries out the ground and it kind of banks itself up. So I've already started planting this new garden, by the way, and yes, have you seen my Buddha? I thought, I don't often go out and purchase anything specific for the garden, but I decided to buy this Buddha because it's going to be a very long task over the autumn and winter and early spring to do this garden. And I just felt I needed to have something beautiful and something central that I could work around. So a focus point, if you like, or a focal point, which would be even better. So here's Buddha. I got the white globe from my daughter, from her garden, and I've already started creating this little bee and butterfly garden. Those of you who are familiar with the garden will know that over near the cottage, over that way, I have 4 potager beds. Now the potager beds have this year become so front-loaded with flowers, and sedums especially, which have all multiplied, that I haven't been able to plant vegetables there, or only just a few. So I'm going to be moving all those flowers over here into this new garden. And you can see what I'm doing. I'm setting it out with stones. I'm planting just very slowly. So that particular plant there, I've put some stones around it just to hold the soil in. But as I move over more plants, I'll move those stones out, plant up, put some earth in, and eventually this will be a kind of triangular bed. So I'll just stand back so you can see. I want to make sure that the geranium is kept in there. So the bed's going to go up, right up to the left of Buddha, over there behind Jack, and then down. so it'll be a bit of a triangular bed. Now, this is probably the only way in which I can create a garden. I have to do everything in very small bits. It's a bit like it's a bit like doing a patchwork quilt. You know, you just sew one little bit at a time. Well, this is the same with me and my gardening. I'm here on my own. I'm pretty robust and pretty strong, but when it comes to stuff like digging out mint, if I was just to concentrate on that and nothing else, I'd probably give up after a while. So I dig out a little bit each day, and as I dig it out, I immediately set in a little garden. So I'm going to be putting another flower bed in to the right of Buddha. And as you can see, I've already put two small bushes in to the right and the left of him. And that's Hypericum. And they come out in, just pop my glasses on, and then I can see how to work this. Sorry, that's it now. Oh, right, here we go. I just put this on my wrist in case I do drop it. There we go, that's better. So, that's the Hypericum there. Now I've got lots and lots of plants all around the garden that I want to divide up and move into this special garden. And then I've put Hypericum on the other side. There we go. And behind Buddha is a rather nice grass, which again I treated myself to. I say I treated myself to, but it's actually for the garden, and it's so as something beautiful can be created here, because I think to be able to come over here during the summer, to sit in this area once it's all finished and just watch the birds and the bees and the butterflies, and not to have to think, oh, I best harvest that, or I best dig that up, or this is a non-work area. It's going to be no work. It's going to be total relaxation and just taking in the beauty of it all. Isn't that right, Jack? Jack says, yes, I agree. We could both do with just sitting down and enjoying it all. Yeah, I think we will, Jack. That's a good idea. It's a good idea, yes. So, I've got quite a few plants here that I'm going to keep. So I'm going to keep this ribes because, of course, that is a beautiful plant, a beautiful bush for the bees. Now, as you can see, I've kind of cloud pruned it. So I've taken everything off the bottom and I've left some stems on the top. That was sort of lost in all the blackcurrant bushes. So that should take shape next year. It should look quite nice. And I think by cloud pruning it, it's all about letting as much light as possible in to the lower layer, the actual earth layer. And that way then all the flowering plants can thrive. So I'm going to keep the geranium. I'm also going to keep this comfrey because it's a flowering comfrey and the bees absolutely adore it. And there's a beautiful little spider on there. I love watching the little spiders during the autumn. So there's also geranium in here. So I'm going to keep them together. And then, when I was taking out blackcurrant bushes, I found some chives, which had almost died through lack of light. So I'll be taking that. No, I may leave them there actually. I may leave them there. Because they're just next to that beautiful stone with the little white rock on the top of it and the moss around it. So I've got all this to take out, but that's okay because I just do it in stages, and when I need to give myself a little bit of encouragement, I'll just take a break, make a cup of tea, and just come over to this little area here where Buddha is, and just imagine how this garden's going to be. There's already a sort of an aura of peace and love and beauty and joy about it. So, I'll just walk down this way. I have more geraniums down here. So the garden was already beginning to sort of perhaps make up its own mind how it wanted to be. So this bit I'm going to keep. I'm going to take out this pink fuchsia. That's in a tire, so I'll take that out during the winter. I'm keeping the rhubarb. I'm keeping the sedums. I don't know the name of that bush there, that lovely chocolate leafed one. But I'm keeping that, and I'm keeping the bushes along. It's not really in a line, but more of a row, I suppose. And then down along here, as you can see, I've been pruning on my apple trees. And that's a plum tree. So down here I'm going to keep this little apple tree in, and I'm going to keep the sedums. And I'm also going to keep these blackcurrant bushes along here, because the blackcurrant and the oregano and the sedum is almost like a little bee pathway anyway. And I'm also keeping the rhubarb here in these tires. And this is the Montbretia. So I think a bank of Montbretia all the way along behind Buddha is going to look quite stunning. And of course this is a beautiful flower because it grows so easily, and it just keeps spreading. So there you have it. So I'll be doing weekly updates on the bee and butterfly garden. I'd like to think of a name for it, because bee and butterfly garden sounds a bit long-winded. So, if any of you have any ideas for a special name for this garden, or maybe even the name of a special person or a special flower or a special animal. I don't think a special animal would work though, would it? I don't know if you could call it the hedgehog garden or the bear garden. But I'd like to give it a name. Anyway, be interesting to have any ideas. So, it's very peaceful here this evening. Do you know, it's really amazing, isn't it? How you can get two laurel bushes, as I did here. And laurels grow very fast. And to grow them, and then at the point where they just got too high, just to bring the branches together. And before you know it, there's this incredible archway. Isn't that lovely? So, it's very cloudy this evening, quite overcast, but it's actually a beautiful evening. It's quite still. Now you can see the potager beds here and how beflowered they've become. They do look lovely. But to be totally practical, they should really just be for vegetables and annual flowers. Because you see, look at the sedums. I mean, the sedums are gorgeous, but they have taken over. And the bay has taken over. And the fennel has taken over. And there's a little bee with little, almost like little bags of pollen on him, on her, him. Looks like a little carder bee.